Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. If you want to support us, you can leave us a 5-star review and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on.
And if you do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and DM us a screenshot of your review, we'll make you a custom meme of your big three and send you a quick write-up about it.
We also have a very cool and exclusive Patreon, so if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
Make sure to follow us on social media. We're Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and Allegedly Astro on Twitter. You could also visit our website, allegedlyastrology.com, to learn more about us, the show, and book a reading with Dana.
So, with that, Dana, what are we discussing today?
Today we're discussing part 1 of our series about Blake Lively and Taylor Swift's friendship.
Yes.
Blayler.
So, we've covered a lot about the Blake Lively saga with the lawsuit with Justin Baldoni. We've covered a lot about Taylor Swift, but we've never really covered these two together. So that's what these episodes are going to be about.
It is worth noting for my own personal business that I did predict that this drama days before it happened.
She did. She said something's going to go down with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And it did. She also predicted Diddy. She knows. Her spidey senses were up. So let's go back in time to Taylor Swift and Blake Lively's friendship. So this began in around 2015. And since then, they've attended events together and dinners together, and they post about each other on social media. And Taylor is even godmother to Blake's daughters, and they're just super close. Taylor even put Blake and Ryan's kids' names in her songs, very close.
Wow.
But recent reports suggest a potential strain in their relationship due to Blake's legal battle with Justin Baldoni and Taylor being dragged into it. So let's learn a little bit about the friends and their astrology.
So like Lee said, we have talked about each of these women quite substantially in our main feed episodes and on Patreon. So we're going to keep it very high level. So Taylor Swift, we all know who she is. What is her big three?
Taylor Swift was born on December 13th, 1989 in Reading, Pennsylvania. Her birth time is disputed, but we use the 8:36 a.m. birth time, which is a Capricorn rising.
A lot of people think she's a Scorpio rising, but we are holding firm that she's a Capricorn rising.
One of my
or maybe not.
favorite tweeters, she's also on Instagram at Saturn and Honey, just one word. I like her case for why Taylor Swift is a Capricorn rising. It's that her midheaven is Scorpio, and it's ruled by domicile Mars. So the midheaven is what we all see. So that would make sense why people think that she's a Scorpio, because we're seeing her midheaven sign. Her
she
career
definitely
sign.
has a lot of Scorpio vibes, but it just might not be in her rising sign.
Yeah. So based on this chart, she has a Sagittarius sun, a Cancer moon, and a Capricorn rising. And with her sun in the 12th house and moon domicile and conjunct exalted Jupiter in Cancer in her 7th house, Taylor Swift belongs to the world, with her Capricorn rising ruled by domicile first house, Saturn in Capricorn, and Mercury in Capricorn, which rejoices in her first house. Taylor Swift retains control over how she connects with and is consumed by the world. So there's a mutual exchange of energies. Her fans, her legion of fans, I don't even know. It's like its own separate thing. What do they call it? Swifties. Benefit, she benefits. It's a mutual reception of sorts. And her Venus is in Aquarius with the North Node in her 2nd house. This reflects the great wealth she has amassed from her global community. And the 2nd house is the house of ownership and possessions. And Aquarius is a sign relating to the populace. People with personal Aquarius placements often experience being denied a right to their individuality. So they have to take it. And with this in mind, I think it's interesting and just really spot on that Scooter Braun withheld ownership of her masters from her, and her response was to re-record them and turn her legion of fans against him, and just begging him never would have worked. She never would have tried that. It's just not. So she took it back. Now she has them though, right? She bought them back.
Yeah, she bought them back.
Excellent. So now she owns herself too, but she still did something that no one really has done before, which is also pretty Aquarius. I mean, no one has done before, at least to my knowledge.
Well, there is a theory about, because everyone knows Taylor Swift is a mastermind. She plots everything, thinks years ahead. And there is a theory that she basically did the Eras tour and re-recorded like all of her albums with the goal of like devaluing her original records so
Nice.
the price would go down so then she could buy them again. Because like what ended up happening with Taylor Swift fans is that no one, unless you really were desperate to listen to Reputation, like nobody was listening to the albums that weren't Taylor's version.
Right.
So that means that nobody was streaming them. So their value was going down. So she was able to buy them at a price that was, I think, basically it's a similar price to like what Scooter Braun bought them for. I think there was like 300 million because it was like the people that own them now like were making money off of it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Respect
She's a
that.
So
mastermind.
love her.
So let's move on to Blake Lively. I think we all know who she is. She's married to Ryan Reynolds. She's in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Serena Vanderwoodson on Gossip Girl, yada, yada, yada. What's her big three, Dana?
Blake was born on August 25th, 1987 at 5:07 a.m. in Tarzana, California, and she has her sun and moon in Virgo, and she's a Leo rising. So a Leo rising means she's a born celebrity. She's always had an it factor, but with a Leo
Good
rising,
hair.
yeah, good hair for
Yeah,
sure.
great hair.
Well, actually, it is kind of crispy, but I
No,
like
she
crispy
has
hair.
very thick, healthy hair.
It's definitely thick. She's had
Thick.
several
It's thick.
kids and
Yes,
retains thick hair.
obviously.
But like a Leo rising, having the it factor requires authenticity. And this doesn't mean having no boundaries or oversharing. It just means authenticity is the ticket to all spiritual development and access to gifts, people sort of relating to you or, liking you. Relatability isn't really a Leo thing, but it kind of becomes like a side feature. Think about like Jennifer Lawrence, she's a Leo. So there's a struggle then within her because her sun and moon are in Virgo, and this is a sign related to control and perfection. A common pitfall for Virgos is shame from being imperfect. And so there's like a need to craft an infallible image. Also, with her sun and moon in her second house of possession, she may have a compulsion to control her image because it's something that she owns. And she understands herself as a commodity. So she's obviously, this is smart for business, but being wound too tightly means like the authenticity could wane. And I never really liked her. And I think it's because of her affect. So I feel like this is adopting an affect to align with the image she wants to sell. And that relates to, I feel like it only became more apparent as she and Ryan Reynolds became a package deal, but that's neither here nor there. The sun and moon for her are not alone in Virgo. She also has Mercury, which is domicile and exalted in Virgo, Venus, which is in fall in Virgo, and Mars in Virgo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Virgo. It's very hard to be authentic with all of that Virgo because you're just so obsessed with controlling how people see you and the pursuit of perfection.
Yeah. So like being a control freak, not being afraid to be tightly wound in public, not really caring about seeming, easy breezy California girl, that could probably be the most authentic expression. Like Beyonce's Virgo sun. She's not at all committed to seeming like low maintenance or casual.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm fucking Beyonce. Also, Blake has Pluto conjunct her IC, which can reflect intense endings brought upon by maybe power games that require transformation within. And this is not easy for her, but it would ultimately bring her closer to the root of herself. That the IC is the root of the chart. She also has Chiron and Gemini in her 11th house, which can show wounds from friendships. And that's in the 11th house. And then with Gemini, that can also be related to like being afraid to speak about things. So my own sympathetic read is that she would be not just like carefully constructing an image, but she would be saying things also based on either insecurity or past sort of traumas related to things happening based on what she said. So with her 11th house Chiron opposite her Saturn and Uranus and Sagittarius in her 5th house of self-expression and creative projects, these endings can be sudden in their demise or fueled by her own compulsions to realize her creative endeavors by any means necessary, which once again, I personally think is fine as long as, she doesn't have to admit that to everyone, but at least the people she's working with, it seems like maybe she doesn't do that.
Good to know. So Taylor and Blake first connected in 2015 after Blake shared a photo from her L'Oreal campaign and referenced Taylor's Bad Blood music video in the caption of her social post.
And Blake confirmed she was a total Swiftie, and then the two ended up meeting up in Australia and went to a theme park while Taylor had a day off from her 1989 tour. Wow, that was a long time ago. So what
I
was
know.
going on when they first hung out?
It was 10 years ago. It was December 7th, 2015 in Queensland, Australia. And the sun was in Sagittarius and the moon was in Libra. So this is a very friendly vibe. Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter were all in detriment, which is interesting, but not necessarily consequential. Mercury in Sagittarius is optimistic and ignoring the trees for the forest. Venus in Scorpio is intense, possessive. Sometimes relationships can be founded on secrets, but also maybe shared pain, shared trauma. Mars in Libra is conflict avoidant, and its opposite Uranus in Aries, which is like surprise having fun, right? There's like a sadness from Venus in Scorpio, and then all of a sudden, Mars in Libra, opposite Uranus in Aries, is like, hey, we're on a roller coaster, we're having so much fun. Everything is fun as long as everything is copacetic. Jupiter in Virgo is in detriment. This is scarcity mindset. There's a clash between divinity and perfection. Jupiter relating to divinity, Virgo being all about perfection. And Jupiter is conjunct the North Node. So this is solidity, trending beliefs, fated events, maybe a joint religion. And I mean, they're in their own religion, right? Not that like celebrities are in of their own religion. I'm not like positing some sort of conspiracy theory. It's just that they can believe in things maybe, or they just have experiences that no one else really has. So, insofar as religion can be related to universal trials and triumphs, they would be able to share something that most people wouldn't be able to. And then there's Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn is in the same sign as the Sun and Mercury, and this modifies stereotypical anti-commitment agenda of the sign. Since Saturn is all about commitments, and Sagittarius is about freedom, this is free love. Mars squares Pluto, so this is compromising for equal power. Power is shared, or power shared is power multiplied, but it can also be tense. Sun sextile Mars, this could be competition or cooperation in competition. Moon sextile the Sun, harmony, positivity, teamwork, fast friends, especially in Libra and Sagittarius. Moon conjunct Mars, this is snap decisions regarding relationships since it's Libra. Moon squares Pluto, so this is intense emotions. Moon opposite Uranus, this is surprise excitement. Moon sextile Mercury, listening and talking, clarity, a free flow of ideas, and sharing what's on your mind. And then looking at Blake's transits, she was in her Saturn return, which is, of course, a 2 to 3 year era of lessons, to be very short about it. But she has a fifth house Sagittarius Jupiter year, which activated her natal Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius. And her Jupiter is in Aries in her ninth house of international travel. So Australia, obviously international for her. This was significant. And the fifth house is also all about having fun, even though her Saturn is doubly activated via her Saturn return and it being in her perfected house and sign. But the sun was conjunct her natal Saturn in Sagittarius in her fifth house. So this is loosening up and having fun. Maybe also, there's a sense of achievement with the sun and Saturn together, and also could be like on a long-term project. Fifth house is also about having fun. So maybe, committing to having fun with Taylor Swift for a long time.
They
Neptune,
were at a theme park.
like the manifestation of having fun. Literally, it's just was invented to have fun. And then Neptune is opposite her Mercury. So this could be feeling misunderstood by others for better or worse. And the better part would be maybe someone else seeing the best in you, which could intimidate you if you don't see the best in yourself. This could also be related to lying or being lied to, and also psychedelic experiences. So I'll just say, I wonder if they like to took Molly together. I don't know. Or like had other psychedelic experiences. People weren't big on psilocybin in 2015 so I don't know. Venus also was sextiling her Venus, and Mars was sextiling her Saturn. So this is just like making friends is easy when you try. The sun was trining her ascendant. This is feeling accepted for who she is, especially since she's ruled by the sun. Saturn was squaring her Mercury. So this is being strategic and or deliberate in communication. I do feel like she maybe was aware that she was befriending Taylor Swift. I guess who wouldn't be? Maybe plenty of people who don't know who Taylor Swift is, but they're not at this theme park. Then Uranus was trining her ascendant, so this was an era of like magnetizing others to her. Uranus can really, it's like magnetic attraction. So when Uranus makes a nice aspect to your ascendant, especially a trine, that's going to be a time when you really when people just want to be around you. other aspects or transits would, of course, mitigate that or change it. And then Jupiter and the North Node were in Virgo, transiting her natal Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So this was a major era of fated events for her. March 20th, 2015 was when the first eclipse on this axis occurred, and May 9th, 2017 was when the nodes entered Leo and Aquarius. So March 20th, 2015 to May 9th, 2017 was like a long spanning era for her. And then we get to Taylor's transits, and she was in a second house Aquarius Saturn year, and this was activating her natal Venus and North Node in Aquarius, and her natal first house Saturn in Capricorn. So this is about who she is, what she owns, what she values. I feel like this was an era maybe when, even though she was like as popular as ever, she still was sort of enduring backlash, maybe, which would be related to second house and Saturn. Pluto was conjunct her natal Saturn, which of course was her time lord, and it's in Capricorn in her first house. So this is all about power, relationships formed based on power, and people projecting onto her for sure, which is what happens when Pluto transits the first house. Trials and tribulations that she, if anyone, really came out on top of. Pluto can break people, but she won, I guess. Maybe she is Pluto. Venus in Scorpio was conjunct her natal midheaven. So this is harmonious events, which are publicized with Venus detriment in Scorpio. Possessiveness is possible, but also maybe ownership. So there really Venus in Scorpio comes down to themes of trust. Also opportunities from work, making friends with women, and seeking pleasure.
1989 was when she was always with the girls from Haim and
Yes.
The Hadids.
and Hadid sisters.
Okay. That was when. So she's like, adding to her girl gang.
I love that. So Jupiter was conjunct the North Node in Virgo in her 9th house of international travel. Jupiter was in her 9th house, and it was squaring her Sun in her 12th house. So this is 9th house is international travel. The 12th house also in ancient astrology, Vedic astrology, could relate to international travel or being away from home. So this is about expanding horizons, ambitious goals, and contributing to society, finding optimism abroad, positive drug experiences, which again, I'm fully speculating, and a potential lack for discretion or restraint. Venus was squaring her Venus, so this could be people wanting things from her, which I guess is probably a theme of her life. Neptune was in her 3rd house, trine Jupiter in her 7th. So this is meeting a sister from another mister. The 3rd house is siblings. Also, all is not what it appears, because Neptune trining Jupiter will make everything seem like hunky-dory. But Venus was trining her moon, so even though Venus was in detriment, it's really feeling great, having fun and pleasure. And Venus and the moon both relate to women, so positive interactions with women, a great time to make a friend.
Isn't this also when the Carly Kloss and Taylor Swift rumors were starting? People were like, oh, they're dating.
That was at like the 1975 concert or something. They were like in a rafter.
Yeah.
People were like, are they making out? Who knows?
Honestly, it did kind of look like it.
Oh, really? I didn't see it. Interesting.
There's just a lot of TikTok lore about her being a lesbian.
I like how TikTok sort of revived the Middle Ages in terms of like just saying any insanity kind of thing. But anyway. Chiron in Pisces was trining her Chiron in Cancer, and Pluto in Capricorn was sextiling her Pluto in Scorpio. So this is vulnerability, allowing for healing of self and others. Uranus was squaring her Saturn, and Saturn is her chart ruler and once again her time lord. So this is acting out of character, surprising herself, surprising others. And then Mercury, Sun, Saturn, we're all in Sagittarius, transiting her natal 12th house. So it's almost a solar return, but not quite. But with the 12th house and Mercury, we can be sure that secrets were shared.
So these secrets obviously bound them if they were in fact shared, because after this trip, like their friendship really does take off. Pretty close after, like a few months later, Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, went to Taylor Swift's 4th of July party, which Taylor is famous for throwing these like 4th of July parties. And then since then, they've really just integrated each other into one another's lives. Like Elise mentioned before, Taylor name dropped Blake's kids' names on her folklore album, and Blake's daughter has a voice cameo on Taylor Swift's song Gorgeous. There's like this little kid at the beginning
that's
that's like,
her?
gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh, cute. I didn't know that was her.
Yeah.
And then when Taylor won Album of the Year at the Grammys in March 2021, she gave Blake and Ryan a shout out in her speech. Blake even directed one of Taylor's music videos, I Bet You'll Think About Me.
Do you guys like that video?
I don't remember it.
It's fine. Like, is it memorable? No,
Are her
but it's
outfits
fine.
cool?
It's like a wedding kind of theme, if I remember. I think I've only seen it a few times, but also it's Miles Teller is in it. But Blake also was by Taylor's side when she went to see Travis Kelsey play football at the beginning of their like courtship. So they honestly do seem to be like very close
We
friends.
all
So
remember their
let's,
ringlets from the Super Bowl.
Oh
yeah, that
God.
hair. But let's check out their synastry.
Okay, so they both have heavy Earth influence, which is significant. Blake's 5 planet stellium in Virgo for personal planets, and Taylor's jam packed Capricorn first house, which includes Mercury and Saturn as the personal planets, and then your Neptune. So trines are harmonious aspects and they just make it easy to be with one another. And also with Earth, they're both grounded. And then Blake's Uranus is conjunct Taylor's Sun. This is pretty wild. They're fast friends. Uranus again is like magnetic. The sun is the identity and warmth. So it's like an electrical charge, just charges the relationship. Saturn is conjunct Taylor's sun. This adds commitment and anchors Uranus's whirlwind impact. But at worst, Saturn conjunct the sun can represent jealousy, dimming someone's light, or just, I guess, making things difficult for someone. Blake's midheaven is conjunct Taylor's IC and vice versa. So this means that they help each other be comfortable in public. The midheaven is public, the IC is private. So when these are flipped, these people can be, it's like, I'm out in public, but I'm at home with you. Blake's Jupiter is conjunct Taylor's IC. It's an out of sign conjunction. Blake's Jupiter is at 29 degrees Aries and Taylor's IC is at 2 degrees Taurus. And so Taylor might find it easy to open up to Blake. Blake must be careful not to exploit Taylor's trust because the IC in Taurus is keeping your cards close to your chest. Blake's Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars sextile Taylor's Moon and Jupiter. So this is just easy to stay friends with just a little effort, right? Like they stay bonded even if they're just texting back and forth. They can give each other calls. It's not tough to like maintain this friendship. Blake also helps Taylor stay grounded. Taylor makes Blake feel nurtured. Blake's Pluto is trying Taylor's Jupiter, so they're a power couple, a power friendship. The power needs to stay in balance, though, because this can, I guess, be getting too high on one supply. But I mean, gassing each other up is great, but it really needs to be managed. And then this is like a really tough aspect for them. Their Venus is quincunx each other's Venus, so this is tough. I mean, it can definitely has its upsides too, but quincunxes are also known as aversions. A quincunx is a 150-degree aspect. So it means that the planets don't share a common element or modality. In other words, there's no direct line of communication between the two placements. So Venus aversions and friendships can be helpful definitely for growth and introducing each other to different perspectives that maybe they wouldn't have arrived at on their own. So it's broadening their worldview. But Venus in Virgo, it's in fall. So this can sacrifice too much, can hold on too tight, can grow critical and discontent and or try to control the other person. Whereas Venus in Aquarius is aloof, glamorous, enigmatic, loves friends, but and like can definitely appreciate a partner's grounding energy, but it cannot be trapped. It cannot be like put in a tight box. It needs to be free. It flees at the sign of being possessed. And Taylor's South Node is conjunct Blake's Ascendant in Leo. So this is a fated friendship. They feel like they were destined to be besties. And Taylor's Mercury is trining Blake's Midheaven. So Taylor has a positive effect on Blake's career and reputation. And honestly, if Taylor says anything, like if she ever speaks up about Blake positively, I mean, not that Blake really needs saving. I'm sure she's not permanently canceled or whatever, but she can really do a lot to rehab it. I don't remember what we thought about Blake Lively in 2015 or before, but I know that almost every time I've thought of Blake Lively since has been in relation to Taylor Swift. And then their suns square each other so they can butt heads from time to time. Blake's Virgo sun can have a tendency to control. Taylor's Sagittarius sun can bounce when this happens, or control by inaction, which is something I've recently realized is often how Sagittarius placements can kind of control. Also, Taurus placement. Like, okay, I'm not going to do that because you're trying to make me do it. So no, I won't do it. But mutable signs, Sagittarius and Virgo, they get along generally and they love to talk and laugh together. Very silly. Good for creativity, like bouncing creative ideas off of each other. They enjoy each other's company and they definitely enjoy leading their clique. Sagittarius and Virgo both love to be part of a clique.
Ain't nobody with my clique. Click, click,
Did
click.
you self-censor
Wow.
fuck?
Yeah, I did.
I love it.
All right. So when it comes to Blake, people in Hollywood's inner circle have alleged that it's no secret that she can come off as bitchy. And there are rumors that Blake is using Taylor to benefit her career because Taylor is such a huge celebrity. We're not saying we believe this. We are commenting on the rumors. So Swifties, don't come for us. We are one of you. So let's check out their Davison. And again, different than synastry, to see the dynamics of their relationship.
Okay. So their Davison comes out to October 19th, 1988 at 12:51 a.m. in a midpoint in space. And their Davison chart has a Libra sun, an Aquarius moon, and a Taurus rising. So it also has Mercury stationary in Libra in the 6th house, Venus in fall in Virgo conjunct the South node, but rejoicing in the 5th house, Mars retrograde and domicile in Aries at the Aries point, which is 0 degrees in the 12th house. The Aries point is 0 degrees Aries and it relates to the public. So a lot of people who have 0 degrees Aries placements in their chart will have something to do with the public. Elise has a 0 degrees Mercury Aries and she is a podcast producer. They also have Jupiter in detriment in Gemini in the 2nd house and Saturn in Sagittarius in the 8th house, exactly conjunct Uranus.
If you told me that someone has a Libra sun, Aquarius moon, and Taurus rising, I'd be like, that's a hot person who's also weird.
Yeah, for sure. And
They
they are
kind of are like that.
Yeah, they are
together.
weird. Like they sometimes dress like they are squires from the medieval times.
Like to dress weird.
And like go to like an Italian restaurant in Brooklyn.
That restaurant is right
Yeah.
around the corner from my house.
I wish that you
Oh,
had seen
really?
those outfits in person.
I know. I wish I did
Just
too.
to speculate on the texture of them, they seemed
It is.
ancient. But the moon with Aquarius is conjunct the midheaven, so the nature of this relationship is public. There's also an enigmatic quality to their bond. People are curious about it. Also, Aquarius is like so friendly. But it's also interesting because the moon in Aquarius has boundaries. So I don't know what they've talked about regarding boundaries, but it's interesting to see that. And then Venus is in fall in Virgo, like I said, but it's conjunct the South node. So there's a familiarity. It's rejoicing in the 5th house. So there's creativity and also comfort. They may understand each other's insecurities. Maybe they share war stories. They have fun together. They understand that they're each tightly wound and they can make space for this within each other, within the relationship. The bond feels faded with that South node, especially since Venus rules the Taurus ascendant and the Libra sun. So these are the sun and the ascendant have so much to do with expression. The ascendant is like the filter through which all other aspects are seen. And the sun is like where's the warmth in this? Also, they're bonded by children, which one of you said that Taylor is the godmother of.
Yeah.
Perfect. They also have Chiron and Cancer stationary in the 3rd house of siblings. So this really is sister from another mister. It's ruled by the moon in Aquarius conjunct the midheaven, and this is their reputation. Their reputations are linked together. They just have always had like so close type of friendship. Also, it's worth noting that Mars stationed direct 9 days after the Davison birth chart. And so since we're in a post-Mars retrograde era right now, I wonder how Mars retrograde periods impact their friendship. It's not nothing, I would say. And then just looking at the transits and progressions of their first meeting, they met during the progressed lunar return of their Davison chart. So the progressed lunar return occurs around age 26 to 28. It represents coming back to ourselves, self-nurturing, understanding our needs, understanding our wounds. Also, in terms of Davison charts, people often meet during nodal returns, nodal oppositions, and they met during their nodal opposition. So the moon was conjunct their Davison sun when they met. It was their time to shine. Mars was conjunct their Davison Mercury, which makes it action-packed and like sharing so much with each other. And again, their nodal opposition represents fated meetings. Neptune, the planet of dissolving boundaries, was in Pisces, transiting their 11th house of friendship and sextiling their natal Neptune in Capricorn in their 9th house of international travel. This really speaks for itself. And then Mercury in Sagittarius is conjunct their natal Saturn-Uranus conjunction in the 8th house of what is shared. This is sort of like vows of commitment. Things maybe feel sudden, but also feel right. Really being able to share like deep secrets as the 8th house relates to sharing secrets. And then Venus in Scorpio in the 7th house of partnerships also relates to sharing secrets. And it also relates to just being bonded together at that time. And then finally, Jupiter and the North Node were conjunct in Virgo, and they were conjunct their natal Venus South Node conjunction in Virgo. So Jupiter transits occur every 12 years. Nodal transits occur every 9 years, alternating between the North and the South Node every 9th year. Since they met during their nodal opposition, their friendship was surely fated. And with Jupiter, the planet of abundance, crossing their Davison Venus, which rules the ascendant and the sun, this is planting seeds for like a friendship to grow and develop. It's really positive. Even though it's in detriment and Venus is in fall, you can't fight Jupiter transiting Venus. It's just feeling warm, feeling held, really. And it gives a lot of grace to Virgo placement, I believe.
So we've established they are friends and their friendship could be faded. But now let's get to the rumors. So there's all these like rumors swirling right now about them having a fallout. And these rumors began when Blake wasn't with Taylor at the 2025 Super Bowl. And this was a big deal because Taylor's boyfriend, Travis, was playing in the Super Bowl. And last year, when he was also playing in the Super Bowl in 2024, Blake had gone with Taylor to watch the game. So that might not seem like that big of a deal, but something that is pretty sus is that it is alleged that Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryan Reynolds on Instagram. And that, as we know, is the celebrity sign that some shit is going
I
down.
wish we had $1 for every time we talked about celebrities following each other on Instagram and what that has led to.
Yes.
Follow and unfollow and what it all means. It's an episode within an episode.
It always means something. Like if someone's mom follows a celebrity, a male celebrity, it's 100% they're dating. So why is this happening? Well, it has a lot to do with Blake's legal feud with Justin Baldoni.
Yes, and we have a whole episode about this, and we will link it in our show notes because it's worth a listen, obviously. But to recap, Blake filed a complaint against Justin Baldoni alleging that he sexually harassed her on the set of their film It Ends With Us. She also accused him of trying to destroy her reputation with a calculated smear campaign.
So Justin has denied all of her accusations, and then he filed his own $400 million defamation and extortion lawsuit against Blake, her husband Brian, and their PR team. In his countersuit, he claimed that Taylor was present at a meeting that took place at Blake Lively's New York penthouse, where he and Blake allegedly met to go over a rewrite of the movie they were making together's rooftop scene.
Yes, and Justin claimed that during this meeting, Blake attempted to intimidate him by using her relationships with her husband Ryan and Taylor Swift to get him to agree to the script changes she wanted to make.
And this is where we get the very cringe text message where Blake seems to refer to Taylor Swift as one of her dragons who protect her in battle.
So
oh my God.
That's like reason enough
So
to just
lame.
pump the brakes on a friendship.
Yeah,
yeah, yikes.
it.
But yeah, with that ick, we're going to leave off there. And then we'll kick off part 2 with all the legal drama and where Taylor and Blake stand right now. So with that, I'm Elise.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Allegedly Astrology.
Bye.